More often than not, players are fed up with shining yet unrevealing trailers. It is obnoxious how little gameplay is shown in game teasers these days. We now came to expect only to see the proper game months if not years from the initial reveal. If you think about it, a cinematic trailer is practically worthless to know if you're going to enjoy a game or not. If only there was a better tool to introduce gamers to games. Ah, come on, you read the title? Today we're talking about video game demos and why they're underrated. But first things first, roll the intro. Ah, demos. When was the last time you played a demo? More often than not, even if a game has a free downloadable demo, chances are you either did not know about it or you bought the game anyways, keeping the demo experience altogether. Yet today I wish to convince both players and developers alike why demos are great and why, give it a chance, you should give them a try. Before starting the discussion, I wanted to highlight that all games seen in the background video are or have demos available in Steam, the Nintendo Switch or elsewhere at the time of writing. I'll put the full list at the end of the video and in the description. The first obvious reason why demos are great is because they give an honest first look at a game. Of course, the demonstration is limited, but it does convey what the game is about, what are its core concept, how mechanics work, and what the general feeling of playing the game is. While a trailer can mislead or even lie to the public, demos are usually a much more honest experience, and it's quite challenging to find a wonderful demo for a horrible game or an awful demo for a great title. There is no standard on what a demo needs to show, but more often than not, the demo takes the first mission or hour of gameplay from the actual title and lets you roam around in that confined space. Games like Metroid Dread, for instance, give players the possibility to play the real game up to a certain point, without any restrictions apart from saving. For games that have chapters like King's Quest, it is quite common that demos give players the prologue for free and then lets them purchase the other chapters separately. Exception to the rule exists, but a good demo usually decides wisely what part of the game will let players play. And play is the keyword here. What trailers often can't do is to leave the game to unsupervised hands. Trying out Cyberpunk 2077 on a PlayStation 4 before buying it? Fat chance. Having the gamepad in hand truly feels like something else, and suddenly the quality of the title can be better perceived. Of course, you can't judge the game by its demo, but demos are often a good taste of what the adventure holds. After finishing one, it might inspire some to make that purchase. Another great element about demos is that they are free and fast to download. The accessibility of demos these days with Steam and eShops makes getting your hand in a demo too easy, and you have no excuses not to try out many new titles. And that's usually the main reason why demos are downloaded, to explore titles we would otherwise not buy blindly. Games like WarioWare Get It Together didn't quite convince me from the original Nintendo Direct, yet the free demo does a much better job explaining and making me feel what WarioWare is all about. This concept of explaining by showing is not only reserved for the gameplay, but also for the narrative. Trailers give overviews, but a good demo gives insight and a better picture of how a game narrative is structured. Take the demo from the Stanley Parable for instance. Developers back at Galactic Cafe made a full small game absolutely for free that explains sublimely what the Stanley Parable is all about. The demo doesn't show a single corridor from the original game, yet by playing it you get the Stanley Parable feeling and fully understand the direction the game takes.
No. We have to get out of here. We have to find something for you to do, anything. The demo cannot end like this.
There are games that do a mix of both gameplay and narrative demonstrations. Demos like Detroit Become Human have gamers play the prologue chapter where both the narrative and the gameplay mechanics are explained, immersing the player in the game world that developers envision. Demos like Bioshock introduce players to both the unique setting of Rapture and its mysteries, but also giving players a taste of the gameplay that made the franchise so popular. For PC users, demos are usually a useful tool to see if new games can run in someone's personal computer. Games like Tales of Arise have a massive world to explore, frenetic action combat and high quality graphics that might not run smoothly on everyone's PC or laptop. Running a demo is an effective way to test out games performance-wise. There are applications such as Can You Run It that try to estimate how well you can run a given title, but guesses have margins of errors and in the past had both false positives and false negatives. The best way to avoid an unnecessary doubt is to run the software. I know people who have pirated a game or two not because they didn't have the money to buy it, but because they wanted to test if the game actually ran on their computer, and they kinda stuck with the legitimate copied since. Demos alone are not always sufficient to justify the purchase of a title, but they are a powerful tool offered by developers who try to convince you one last time without marketing extravaganza. I respect developers who give free demos because that demonstrates that the creators are confident with the product to put in the market. Everyone can catch Hollywood-esque looking trailers, but few can spend that money to give players something more valuable, an extract of their artwork. In short, demos are awesome, and to be frank, I would need to scrap the barrel to find any negative points to counterbalance this section of the video. Yet while demos are great, they are scarce, and as I said earlier, players including myself either miss them because we don't know a demo is available or because we own the full game. So why are demos out of fashion, and why do the majority of games not have one? While players may compare demos to mini adventures that summarize a game, publishers see them as a marketing tool, a way to increase sales by exposing their title as much as possible to potential customers. The whole scope of marketing is to publicize and target the right audience to the right product, and many are the instruments used to reach this goal: trailers, ads, and of course, demos. Now, I do not work in the field, nor do I manage a publishing company. However, for what I understood, marketing is often expensive and many variables need to be considered for the marketing campaign. The risk of spending money and resources to make a functional demo without reaching new audiences, or even worse, discouraging them to buy the final product, is real, and the gamble may not pay off. Unfortunately, I did not find much reliable literature about the price of making demos for video games, but the overall feeling I get by reading discussion about the topic is that good demos require work, and developers would rather invest it in the game itself. This makes sense. If a game needs urgent bug fixing, it would be kind of pointless to make a demo for an unfinished title. Furthermore, trailers can be outsourced and can be directed to highlight the best parts of the published final product. The point is that there is a negative feedback loop between demos and popularity. Developers do not generally release demos because they think the gamble is not worth it. Hence, there is not a great demo culture between players because demos are scarce, and thus there is even less incentive to release demos in the first place. You get the gist. There is an infinite loop that discourages studios from releasing playable demos to the public. This is of course discouraging to hear, because demos are truly the best tools players have to judge whether or not a game suits them. What's the point of a cinematic trailer if the whole point of the game is to play it? The only way to break this cycle is to make demos popular again. We need to stop getting excited when we see a generic action scene in space and receive countless promises with no facts. Browse around your free demos in your PC or console and support publishers who put the extra effort to reach you. I've played a lot of demos recently to make this video, and I generally bought or wishlist games that I found enjoyable. Who knows, perhaps you'll find that one game that suits you. There is nothing better than a free demo, and I hope that in today's video I convinced you to fill up your internal memory full of free pieces of software you might consider buying. As promised, on the screen you should see the full list of games I've inserted in the background. I also put them in the description because Ctrl+C is easier and YouTube likes long video descriptions. Thanks, algorithm. If you made it this far, you're just like video game demos. Amazing! As usual, thank you for watching today's video, and if you like my content, consider dropping this video a like, share it and subscribe for more. What's your take on the topic? Any good demos experiences you wanna share? I promise I'll read them all. I wish you a wonderful day. Arrivederci.